Hello humans, it's B. Kira here. Even before the introduction of guns and firearms, archery was the most effective ranged weapon that was only used by nobles. Training process for archers was efficient and easy compared to the knights, and with the cost of training also being cheaper, it was the most common ranged attack. The prototypical image of an archer is from the folktale of Germanic people, with them being fairy-like and thus elves being the most common archers. Among many archers in anime, I have selected a few that stands out from the rest, and I will be discussing some of the strongest archers in anime. Inuyasha takes place in a modern world, and when a 15-year-old Kagome Higurashi falls into a well in her family shrine, she finds herself taken back to the Sengoku period where she meets Inuyasha, the half-dog demon and half-human. It is in the Sengoku period where they both work together to find Shikono Tama, also called Sacred Jewel. Kikyo is introduced as a Shirin priestess and also Inuyasha's first love. She's on par in terms of strength with the shaman that created the Sacred Jewel, and Kikyo is now the guardian of the Sacred Jewel. However, after many encounters with Inuyasha, she falls in love with him. This leaves Kikyo vulnerable due to the curse of Tsubaki and Naraku. Knowing this, took advantage of the situation and successfully took down Kikyo. Urasue later finds the remains of Kikyo and kidnaps Kagome, who possessed the soul of Kikyo and extracted her soul and successfully reincarnated Kikyo even though Kikyo herself did not want to. Since Kikyo was the strongest shaman in Sengoku period, she found herself to be the primary target of one of the strongest villains Naraku throughout the anime. Kikyo's abilities as a shaman were impressive enough, but her archery skill was matched by no one else in the anime. She had great power in her arrows while maintaining her perfect accuracy, and with the combination of both, she's able to penetrate the robe of the Fire Rat, which is known as one of the strongest armor in the anime. This was shown when Kikyo used her last ounce of strength to shoot her sealing arrow to Inuyasha and pin him to Goshingoku, where Inuyasha was sealed for 50 years. After being resurrected, she immediately turned on Urasue and burned her to death. Another example of her great archery is when she shot Inuyasha's demon sword and disabled his ability and hit Inuyasha as well. As the story progresses, Kikyo was resurrected as Kagome, and with Kagome taking the soul of Kikyo, Kagome inherited all the skills of her archery and continued her great skills. While Kagome's skills herself are very weak, the fact that monsters feared Kagome for the fact that she carries a bow and arrow is a testament to Kikyo's archery skills. And even Jakotsu, who is a demon villain filled with hatred of women, fears Kagome the most. Saint Seiya takes inspiration from Greece and constellations, as characters that represent each constellation fights to protect the god of war Athena as she fights other Olympian gods. In the anime, there are 12 strongest saints, called Golden Saints. They are the guardians of Athena. Above all the bronze and silver saints, which they can split the sky and shake the ground themselves, Sagittarius Aiolos is the best archer in the anime with immense strength. Sagittarius as a constellation represents an archer, and being so powerful, he is the front runner for being the commander of all Golden Saints, being more than worthy to hold such title. However, Gemini Saga, who was the strongest saint, couldn't accept the fact that Sagittarius Aiolos is the next commander, and out of anger attempted to kill young Athena before being interrupted by Aiolos. Aiolos managed to protect Athena at the cost of his own life. It is worth nothing that Saga is not always a bad character, but rather that he has two distinct personalities that are highlighted by the change of hair color. It was said that he had the kindness of an angel, but also a darkness of a demon. When his hair color is a blonde, he's loyal to Athena and puts his own life before Athena's. But when it turns black, he's the most ruthless and kills anyone in his path. After Aiolos had died, he was resurrected at the Cosmo Tree, Yggdrasil, but at a very weak state. While recovering his strength, he was faced by another opponent, and Aiolos had no choice but to engage in a battle. Aiolos was at a very big disadvantage by the fact that his armor has been destroyed, but Aiolos showed his great archery skill by shooting a golden arrow at the enemy's eyes, that left it injured and caused disruption in the growth of Yggdrasil. When Aiolos reappears later, he's seen in his full golden armor and helps the other saints in the Battle of Loki. Aiolos has never held a grudge against Saga and continued to fight on his side, and this left a great impression to the audience as he showed his great personality and sense of maturity. Heaven's Lost Property takes place in a world where there's a special group of people known as angeloids that exist only in the sky world called Synapse, and some happen to fall to the ground where they are discovered. One of the protagonists is Icarus, and she's one of the fallen angeloids. She falls from Synapse and falls right in front of the main protagonist, Tomoki Sakurai. Icarus sees Tomoki as her owner, where she introduces herself as a pet class angeloid, and their story begins. Since the introduction of Icarus, she rarely reveals any emotions, nor does she remember her own past. But only when Tomoki's life is in danger, she becomes enraged. As the story progresses, her true identity and her full potential is on full display after Tomoki risks his life to save Icarus during their battle against Nymph. It is revealed that she is not a pet class angeloid, but the strongest class of the first generation angeloids, strategic battle class. In the past, she was referred as a Uranus Queen, and she single-handedly destroyed a Tower of Babel. She is able to easily wipe out Earth and possesses many powerful weapons, such as Artemis, a homing energy projectile that is fired from her wings, Aegis, an energy shield capable of blocking most attacks, Apollon, a bow that fires energy-charged arrows that can destroy a country with a single blow. She also possesses a weapon called Uranus System, a massive spaceship that carries many weapons with it, as well as an invisible ability. It is said that when she went on a rampage in the Synapse, it took all of the other first and second generation angeloids just to stop her rampage. Her true potentials are rarely seen, as Tomoki is a reserved individual and avoids conflict as much as possible. So Icarus also tries not to get involved in conflict before her true identity was revealed. T. Gravermed is the main protagonist in the series Lord Marksman and Vanadis, and his primary weapon is an ordinary bow and arrow. Filled with kindness and honesty, he's well respected by many in the anime, and he is known for his love of naps, as wherever he goes, he's often seen taking naps. He will only react in the presence of hostile individuals and ready to defend himself or his friends or allies. Even while in battle, he can remain calm under pressure. He grew up in a mountain area where his parents taught him how to shoot a bow and arrow, and from a young age he went out to hunt where his archery skills developed. His archery skills aren't just good for hunting, but he can shoot a perfectly accurate arrow while riding on a horse, or shoot a shield on the same place constantly to break the shield. All of the skills that are shown in the anime are almost self-taught with no special abilities in terms of his accuracy and power. The black bow, which is inherited from his family down generations, and when T. Gravermed gets a hold of this weapon, it allows him to use arrows in ways that ascends his powers further. The black bow in itself is strong enough to easily penetrate a thick armor. When the black bow is used with Alan's main weapon, Arifar, it is strong enough to slay a dragon in blow or destroy the gate of a fortress. T. Gravermed cannot go on without any weakness, however. His only weakness is that outside of archery, his skills in other weapons are really weak, even to the point where he would refuse and run away from situations where he's given the chance to train his skills. While his kindness and honesty is popular amongst the girls in the anime, he himself is very indecisive and cannot choose one person specifically. Ashitaka from Princess Mononoke is the Amish prince who was destined to become the leader of his tribe. However, he was inflicted with a curse that grants superhuman strength, but it grows weaker by the day that will eventually kill him. This led him to be exiled from his own tribe, and now he's a refugee making a living by hiding. His combination of appearance, personality, and abilities made him very attractive to the other characters. Even before Ashitaka was cursed, he showed his abilities and strength as a marksman by slaying Nago. who fully turned into Demon War just with 2 arrows. This showed his talents as a marksman that stood above everyone else. After slaying Nago, Ashitaka was cursed himself, which caused him to gain superhuman strength. This was shown when he was able to open a door that would take a group of people to open, or when he was able to break a katana with his bare hands. Even though Ashitaka had superhuman strength, he does not necessarily rely on it, but only resorting to it when it comes protecting himself or his allies. As mentioned before, his personality also adds to his character as he would step up to stop a dispute, try talking to Nago before battling, and accepted his exile from his tribe due to the curse. All of these factors made Ashitaka almost into a perfect character. The directors and actors would later say it was hard to really understand and get into the character due to its perfection. In today's video, I introduced some of the best archers in anime, not just their raw abilities in archery but their powers that added to it, as well as the character involvement of having their own art form of archery. Have we missed any other characters that were great archers?